Welcome to Herd Mentality. We are your hosts for the day,
Corey.
and Aaron. Today we'll be talking about a couple of different things. Starting off, we'll be talking about the paths or the different tracks that you can follow on Beyond the Whiteboard, things that are offered to you as a member of Console Strength. Now, if we make any mistakes or anything, we're not going to edit this video. We're just going to get better at talking to you, and we're going to keep it real. So, yeah, just bear with us as we figure these things out. So, Corey, we have a bunch of different paths or a bunch of different tracks. We have the strength, Olympic, power, fitness, compete. Okay? In your words, what would you say the strength path is?
Strength path. Yeah. Strength path is definitely the foundation for Kanza. I mean, I think it was the original path and definitely represents those 5 factors that we have hit. Like you guys have hit home like numerous times of this is what we're about and where we start. And so I think personally, I was a guy that took the strength path for 2.5 years. That's all I did. I didn't do anything extra. I followed that. Was here religiously committed to it, and I saw myself a huge improvement in my overall life outside of here and then in the gym, and it's ultimately what led me to want to coach. So for me, I think it's for anybody that in the gym that's looking for something to just build a foundation that can take you anywhere, whether it's your athletics or everyday life, that's what the strength path is there for. I mean, what's your mindset behind it and your thoughts?
Yeah, that strength path I would say is our bread and butter. I'd say that's what definitely, well, it's not what I'd say, it's what I'm saying. It's our bread and butter, and it's definitely what we base the 5 factors for strength or 5 factors for health off of, that leg strength, grip strength, foot speed, lean body mass, and VO2 max. All the things that are really, really focused on creating a better opportunity for people to stay healthier and more independent for a longer period of time. So that strength portion is, the reason why we have so many class time frame offerings. It's definitely one of the big pieces to it. So cool. The Olympic path.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of run through these relatively quickly. That Olympic path is offered in the mornings on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, primarily working on the snatch and clean and jerk. Really focusing on getting people better at that and utilizing any kind of accessory movements to get them better at those specifics. That is programmed. Let's back up. The strength track is currently programmed by Jack. She's killing it, doing a great job.
Yeah.
Then the Olympic track is currently programmed by Kenny, and they just competed this weekend at Onega in an actual weightlifting meet. So then we have a power track, which is currently programmed by Jake. I don't know if everybody's met Jake. Some people have, some people haven't, but he is working off that power track to enhance or increase capacity for people in their squat, bench, and deadlift. So following those paths, we also have a fitness track, which is a little less for quality and a little more for time, or a little more reps in remaining time. And a lot of times I'd say it's kind of some stuff that might not require you to have a coach with you. Something that's a little bit easier. I mean, you got thoughts on any of those tracks?
Yeah. Well, tell me if I'm wrong, but Kenny, I believe, and his Olympic class, this is their second meet they've done in the last few months where they've had them place. Everybody's placed in those meets, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they have. Which I just think it's such a technical area of that Olympic lifting, and it is a cool like modality if that's what you're trying to get into, because we're not going to be able to get a lot of that in work into the classes.
Right.
But that's a really cool, especially if you've been doing like a strength path, that might be something you can work in tandem with, right, and hop into. The powerlifting one with Jake, I worked with Jake personally on deadlift, and if anybody doesn't know him or hasn't worked with him much, he's definitely a wealth of knowledge to dig into. I think that's a area where if you're really trying to get stronger, working on moving your whole overall body better through some of those heavier movements, Jake transformed my deadlift for me. He really helped me to be able to move that and take that into so many other categories. So I think both of those tracks, maybe people haven't seen a lot of those because they are so specialized, but definitely something that we're digging into.
Side note on Jake, I actually watched him pull triple body weight to the song "It's Gonna Be Me," which was pretty awesome. It was a cool moment to be a part of. Just like he's like, "Oh, I'm lining up for triple body weight," you know, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." And then I look over there and I see the amount of plates that are stacked, and then he puts on this, 90s boy band, just blaring "It's Gonna Be Me," and I'm like, "Really? This you're gonna pull triple body weight to this?" And he did. So he was very consistent on being able to pull PR or squat PR or bench PR to "It's Gonna Be Me." So there might be something. Those of you that are stuck in plateaus, take a page out of Jake's book and check that one out. What about the fitness
Some good
track?
music. Fitness track, yeah. So I've done a little bit of the fitness track. Definitely, you're right. It's. I think from what I've seen, higher heart rate. There's a lot more movements typically in one workout. It's not just one modality. Usually it's a multiple different ones. So you're getting a pretty good overall taste of a little bit of the strength, some endurance. Maybe it's like more of a Metcon kind of style. But it is a nice thing that a lot of the athletes that come in just for open gym have really, I think, taken to and enjoyed. So it can be done in tandem too with the strength. I have quite a few athletes in the evenings that do the strength and then do the fitness for just added reps or volume.
And then lastly, we have the compete track, which is maybe a little bit more geared towards people that are interested in doing some kind of fitness competition or maybe a throwdown or something like that. They're going to be sampling from a lot of the different tracks in general. They might be doing part of the strength track for the week, part of the Olympic track for the week. Every once in a while, they'll snag some stuff from the power track, and then the fitness track as well. They will double up on some of that. So, what are your thoughts on that compete track?
Compete track, yeah. Like you said, it's definitely geared towards those that are looking to be a little bit more of like competition CrossFit style workouts, I would say. So a little bit more of some of the modalities are going to be a little bit of higher technique. So muscle ups, handstand walks, push-ups, those kind of things. But it allows you to get in that shape that you could hop into a competition need be. I think the volume's a little bit more. The coolest thing about it, we were doing an outside track to kind of get some of these things beforehand, and that was nice, but it really didn't tailor it towards us. They were tailoring it towards other individuals or their own athletes, right? And so this gives, with you programming it, it gives us an opportunity, especially as people log it and do more of these, to really hone in on what we need as athletes in our facility here. So I'm super excited about it. We've been doing it for the last 2 weeks, I think, roughly.
Yeah.
And I've seen an improvement in a lot of different areas where I didn't know I was weak in. So it's kind of cool. I'm excited about it.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks, but only 2 of them are actual classes that we offer.
Mm-hmm.
The Olympic and the strength. Okay. So everything else has to kind of be done on your own. It's not something that we advertise. It's not something we're making a ton of money off of. It's not something that we're trying to do whatever. Like, it's just things that we're providing to people primarily based on, we're not going to define fitness for everybody. We're going to allow you to define fitness for yourself, and we're going to show you, hey, we have some pretty smart and capable people that can help you periodize your training so that you don't get sick of what you're doing and you don't find plateaus or burnout. So trying to provide opportunities for people, is really what we're focused on, and understanding that people define things differently.
Yeah. With the tracks, Aaron, I got a question for you. So anybody that has been here a while knows that coaching is like forefront for us. So with some of these where there's not necessarily a class, how's it best for some of them to handle maybe doing these but still wanting some of that coaching or getting a little guidance in any of these tracks?
Yeah, for sure. The strength class or the strength track, being able to log some of those is going to be beneficial. other time frames to come in. I've been trying to figure out what's going to be beneficial as far as the fitness track goes. If there is people that continue to log that fitness track and keep more and more people start logging it, we might look at, hey, we're going to write, a 5-week or a 5-day week program, and 2 of those days we would look at observing a class where it's guided with maybe a little bit more technical movements. But for the most part, we would be looking at, hey, you're able to get in on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do it on your own because it's all self-explanatory, and you understand, you've been through all of these movements, you understand the positions, you understand the scheme or the layout of the workout. And then from there, we can slowly start to build some more difficult or a little bit more technical movements on 2 days a week or something. So we're extremely open to creating classes for people where there is the demand for them. So the more people that log these specific things, the more we can pull and figure out, hey, where should we put a class in?
Yeah.
Where should we create opportunity for people who want it?
For sure.
Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think just last thing on this for me with the tracks, we, I know Aaron and I, we work out together often because I know I still need a lot of coaching in so many different areas, and Aaron's always asking also for the same thing to get better and to improve himself in so many different areas that we can't see. So if you're doing any of these other tracks where you don't have necessarily you're in a class, don't hesitate to pull one of us and ask or have something if you have questions to look at, or even maybe you see on the strength path today's there's something that maybe you want a little more information on. Maybe that's the time for you to jump into a strength class or an Olympic lifting class for that day, get a little guidance, get a little insight, and have somebody looking at you, because for me, I know that's so valuable.
Yeah.
Is that extra coaching for me.
For sure. Those tracks are there for you to follow, but you can't follow multiple tracks. So say you're like, hey, I would really enjoy getting all of the strength gains from the power track and all the fitness gains from the fitness track, but I still like the community aspect and the strength that I'm getting in the 5 factors from the strength track. It's not really designed to follow every single one of those.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can do is pick one and commit to that. And once you've committed to that, then we can slowly start to find where we add another one. But the main point there is that commitment to it. Commit to one of those tracks and really focus on, hey, this is developing my fitness the way I want it to. And then we can adjust things from there. You can have conversations with us that are programming. So as far as, committing to tracks or committing to things specifically,
Yeah.
What do you have to add on that?
Yeah, I think there's a story from a book I know you just read too. This guy, he's a sports psychologist. He was talking with Vince Carter, right, NBA basketball player, and they were talking about these young athletes coming up through the NBA, right, and getting this lifestyle. And they had this idea that, at least Vince Carter was talking about this idea where choice isn't really an option. It's kind of an illusion once you make a commitment. And these NBA players, as they're committing to being NBA players and being good NBA players, the paths in which they can actually succeed in those areas really starts to limit and gets to, there's only a handful of things that you can do to really be a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan. I think the choices, and so I've been diving into that myself, of where when I'm uncommitted to something, it seems like there's so many choices out there, and it's really hard to narrow down your path. But once you commit into one or a goal or a vision for who you want to be, that path starts to narrow and it becomes a lot more simple. And I think that's really important, like you said, with committing to any of these tracks, or maybe committing to a goal. For me, it's been easy that I know my commitment is being 70, 80 years old, being able to walk, being able to be fit, being kind of the guy that, like, I want to kind of freak out people because I'm an old in shape dude, and that's something that I see long term. So it's not just about me shedding 20 pounds or being able to hit one PR in snatch. It's a really long-term commitment. And so for me, that's made the gym process and a lot of these decision making, whether I'm going to eat healthy, what track I'm going to do, whether I'm going to take care of my body or my sleep, it's been super easy because those paths have narrowed. To be that 80-year-old guy, that 70-year-old guy that I see myself being, it's limited a lot of those choices. And so I think that commitment is something that is really important to look at and say, hey, where is it rooted that I want to have in my fitness journey and my goals?
So would you say you were committed when you first started?
I was, but in a different way.
Okay.
So this has transformed a little bit. I did want to be that guy. I didn't understand what my commitment to being that other guy when I first started was going to look like.
Okay.
And so that was really uncomfortable because those paths did narrow, and you have to make those decisions at that point of like, oh, okay, am I going to really stick with this commitment? So I guess in some ways my commitment was the same. I just didn't understand what all it was going to take to get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you said it was a rocky road. Like, I guess, what was the rocky road filled with, like, when you got started?
Yeah. Well, the first thing was committing to showing up, because I committed to coming in the mornings, and that was all I really had time for, and I hated waking up early. So that commitment to showing up in the mornings, followed by me being really humbled on, wow, I'm actually not as good or as fit as I thought I was.
Okay. Can you give me an example of when you were humbled?
Clean days. I remember specifically a day, it was the first day we did cleans, and I was in there, and Jack made me do the training bar for the whole session, while Brooke was next to me doing like my body weight. And it was shot to my ego. I mean, that hurt. I thought I was somebody that was pretty athletic, and so to not have the mobility, to not have those things, and but to want to be there, that was big, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's so easy for people to see you as you are now and not realize that there was a process to get there, you know. Same thing, you know, like there was time frames where, you know, like I couldn't row if I had deadlifted in the last 3 days because my back would just blow up, you know. Like if I had deadlifted in like 3 days prior and I sit on a rower, there was absolutely no way I was going to be able to finish the workout. It does not finish, like almost all the time, like all sorts of problems with it, you know. So it's real easy to forget that, you know, we're still walking a journey, you know, and we're still pushing on those things. So no, I mean, your commitment at that point, you would have come to a turning point. You would have come to a point where it's, hey, like, I want to continue down this road, and, you know, I'm starting to smooth the rocks. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to find better footing. I'm starting to shed the training bar, you know, and share a bar with Brooke, you know.
Yep.
What did that process look like? When did you recognize that those things were starting to take place?
Yeah. I think it was probably about 6 months in of not seeing a whole lot of anything. Me having to step back, do lower weight, work on like my mobility, and then it kind of jumps. You get kind of a next like a level up, like in a video game, right? Is that you play it until you master that level, and then eventually you tackle it and you're on to the next one. But if you die in that level, you keep going back, you keep going back, you keep going back. And that was kind of what it was it was like up until till you hit that new technique and unlock that new level is when you jump forward. And I think for me it was 6 months on that first one, and it's been a pretty consistent thing of it was another 6 months for me to level up again, or another, you know, 3 to 4 months to level up. But it was that same pattern of having to hit a wall and decide whether you're going to work through it or not. I mean, is there something, I know a lot of people have seen you, especially in the gym, and me in particular, walked into a situation where you seem to be really masterful at a lot of different things. And I've listened to you in the last year talk about stories of your struggles. Is there one in particular that stands out? Maybe it's a lift or something where you were really struggling at that has maybe people don't know that you've had to really overcome to get where you are?
Yeah, I mean, so I separated this left shoulder while I was in the Marine Corps, and I watched. I got involved into CrossFit in a gym when I was like just moving back to Kansas from California, from the Marine Corps, from things like that, and I couldn't snatch. Like, I was so far rotated in, my arms all bent. I'm sure we could find pictures of it. Like, it's disgusting, you know? And, you know, it was in a competition, and I did not like coming in last place, you know? My team and I, we came in, I'm pretty sure it was almost dead last. If not dead last, the people that were dead last just didn't show up for the final day, you know? Mm-hmm. But for the most part, that started, hey, your positions are garbage, because you can look at a picture of the people that won doing the exact same exercises as you, and they look way better. You know, like their shoulders are in the right positions, everything just looks, you know, more fluid. You know, it's not that they were better, it's just that their positions were better, you know. So all I had to do was sit there and think to myself, how do I make those changes? And then slowly but surely I started getting better. The two things that stick out the most to me are deadlift. Deadlift used to kill me. I used to just hurt my back almost every single time I would do deadlift. And then front squat. I couldn't hold the front rack for more than, I don't know, maybe like 3 reps. I remember we were doing 5 reps with my coach. He was having us do 5 rep maxes and like max effort sets of front squat after you've hit a front, like you would just basically drop down to a percentage and then hit a max effort set. And I would get to 3 and my arms are dropping down and my fingers are just barely holding onto the bar, and I'm like screaming. And he's like, what is wrong with you? You know? And I'm like, I can't hold this bar. So those are significant. And then, you know, fast forward to a time frame where I was able to front squat a significant amount of weight, you know, like finding the capacity to front squat, you know, over 350 pounds, you know, like for a couple of reps. I was significantly surprised at my ability to do that, and at the same time to be able to drive the bar, you know, back and hold it in the position that it needed to be. So those are ones that stick out in my head. I mean, from not being able to put anything overhead correctly without pain, to not being able to deadlift without having pain for the next 3 days, to not being able to do more than 3 reps in a front rack position, you know? So, I mean, you could probably, if anybody knows Mark, you could probably talk to him about when I first showed up to the gym, because he was there, you know? He used to smoke me in workouts like crazy, you know? So, and then things change. You know, you start putting effort and time into what do my positions look like and feel like, and how do I make them better? And then slowly but surely, things start coming around. Yeah. So, commitment to the cause, I guess you could say, or commitment to the process is probably a more effective way of putting it. I've heard a lot of people talk about like getting lost in the process, and I think that's a good frame of reference or a good thought process. If you can follow those things, it's pretty significant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That one of the things you and I know have talked about a lot, I think goes really in tandem with that idea of commitment, is the like expectations and results focus, right? Of that. You helped me a ton with that through this last, I think last summer, of being mindful of how you frame what it is that you're doing in that process, right? You don't always have to be on the leaderboard or that top guy to be getting something out of a workout. Sometimes it's just showing up and putting forth the effort. Sometimes, almost every time, it's about putting forth the effort and finding that expectation in that I'm getting better today because I'm putting forth the effort, and it's because of what I'm bringing. And if I'm giving it my best, even if I'm the last on the leaderboard or if I'm the last in the workout, doesn't mean that I'm not valuable or I'm not building success, right?
Right. Yeah. Main things, effort. You know, I think it's in Grit by Angela Duckworth. She talks about how talent's nothing more than, you know, your skill times your effort, whatever natural skill you have, and then your achievement is your talent times more effort. So like you have to develop the skill with effort, and that gives you your talent, and then your achievements become your talent times your effort. Well, if you boil that down into an order of operations, achievement is skill times effort squared. You know, that's the primary to it. So effort, I think, is the most important word you said right there.
Yeah.
Other things that we can commit to?
Yeah. I mean, I know.
Talk about tracks and the process and change.
I think nutrition is one that is this. I know that's a loaded one, and I know you might want to shut it off at this point. Who knows? It's a tough one. I think that goes along with the commitment thing. I know I'm working on that journey. I think a lot of us are on that journey of like, what do I do with my food? And when I was looking at that 80-year-old guy, I'm not going to get there without eating better. And that's like one of those things, like it's not really a choice if you're committed to that. So I think committing to nutrition, or at least committing to learning about your food and how you're going to improve over that. It's a long haul. What's your thoughts with that journey of committing to nutrition and what you've seen in that realm?
I've seen a lot in that realm. I get a little frustrated with nutrition because sometimes people don't report the things that the most accurately, or they forget about things or whatever, and then it makes my job significantly harder if I'm trying to help them adjust for a goal. Mm-hmm. So I try to keep it about as easy as it can be. Hands down, my favorite way to do it is simple, like order of operations. Almost everybody knows one thing that they could do that they're not doing, mm-hmm. and one thing they could stop doing that they are doing. Some people know multiple things. So I like to interview people and we talk about it. And when we talk about it, I say, okay, make me a list of, I make the list for them of what they're doing that they maybe should stop, and then what they're not doing that they maybe should start. And then, for 2 weeks, can you add one and subtract one from the list? Mm-hmm. That's probably the easiest thing to do. The thing that kills people with nutrition is they try to do it all at once. It's, well, I wasn't eating Brussels sprouts and kale salads every night, and I'm going to do it now. And no more bacon, because it's not good for me. And I'm not going to have pizza ever in my life again. Like, what kind of life is that? It's difficult. So it's, hey, how do we create the smaller changes that compound and are easier to commit to over a period of time? It's like, hey, the things that you're doing that we should slowly start to peel back on. So let's just pick one of them and let's focus on that for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month. Like, if you're getting really good benefit or you're getting really good results off of cutting one thing out, like, holy wow, that's the easiest part. Huge. That's the easiest part right there. So if you're able to do those specifically, that's kind of the way I would look at it. And then you just slowly start to cross them off. So I was talking to one of my, Nathan, that came from Washington to pick that dog up.
Yeah.
We were talking about that hard 75 challenge. and they were talking about it. They came up with their own version of it, which is more like a 45, and it's less things. It's just a couple things here and there. And then together, like while we were talking about we were talking over coffee, and I said, what if it was a hard 60, and for the first 5 days you only picked 2 things and you had to add those, and then the next 5 days you add 2 more things, so you're doing 4, and then the next 5 days, which would give you 15 days, you would do 2 more, and then by the 45th, like, or by the beginning of the 45 days, you're doing everything, and you've slowly added them. So I talked to them about that when we were contemplating coming up with that challenge. And if they do, what I said is, I think it'd be cool if our gym challenges their gym, which is in the greater Seattle area. It's mixed martial arts, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they used to be CrossFit, now they're just functional fitness. But I think it'd be really cool if we challenged them, and if we beat the shit out of them. I think that would be pretty cool. So, but we don't have all the rules fine-tuned, so I don't exactly know how that would work out, but I just thought about that as far as nutrition goes. I mean, how do you think people could commit to nutrition? How have you committed to nutrition?
Yeah. Well, it was a journey for me. I mean, up till I was the guy, man, maybe even this summer, that was like, not gonna lie, I would have a Little Caesars pizza probably once a week at least or more, and eat the whole thing, like frozen pizzas, whole thing. I don't think it had clicked yet how much I wanted to eat well, but it maybe wasn't actually something I knew I really wanted, right? Because otherwise your habits follow along with it. It was when I got to a point where I knew I couldn't get any better in here, and I just got fed up with feeling terrible, I guess, and so I started to really dial it in a lot more. I know you helped me by coming in. You and Kayla came to my house one day and actually cooked a meal like in front of me, and that was a huge like mindset shift for me, because I grew up one way, seeing my mom cook a certain way, and it was very much that like old food pyramid way, and that's really all that I knew for food. And so when I watched you cook, I thought about it, and it reframed that I was looking at this, trying to replace what I was currently eating with things that were not as delicious. Like I was trying to make pizza in a healthier way, and I was like, I don't need to do that. I need to completely make something new. It doesn't have to be pizza. Pizza can remain pizza, and I can make something completely different that fulfills that same like feeling for me. So that was where I started doing, is like, don't try to compare. Don't try to make a burger that's as good as a regular burger. You're not going to do it. Why don't you find something else that is as good of a burger, but it's different? Maybe it's something in a bowl. Maybe it's something that's sauteed or fried up. And so that made me really excited that I could still eat something that I really liked, but also was hitting my goals. And so that first off was a huge mindset shift, and that's where I went to, and I was starting to see a little bit of that translate into the gym and my performance and how I felt. And then the second biggest thing was the actual tracking of what I was eating, of being super vulnerable, of like not actually hiding stuff anymore, because there's a lot of like guilt and shame behind that of, oh my goodness, I ate a whole pack of like Skittles that somebody gave me. I didn't even know it was this much. And I think like a budget, if anybody's ever done a budget before, it's not the big things that kill you. It's not the bills. It's not the big purchases. It's the stops off at McDonald's, or it's the stops at the gas station or the vending machine that kill you and nickel you and dime you to death, right? And so that was the thing I saw when I started actually being honest with myself, being vulnerable with somebody else on actually tracking my food and really looking at it. And through that process, I was able to really see, okay, well, I just need to shift this a little bit. And so I still eat fun stuff. Like I still eat a good amount of things. We went to a golf outing and I had a Chick-fil-A sandwich there. I also picked up a pack of Skittles, and I read the back of it and saw it was 56 grams of carbs. And I looked at just me knowing now, if I ate that pack of Skittles, what I was going to be able to not eat, or for me that evening. And so I looked at it, I was like, that's just not worth it for my goals. And I set that aside. Beforehand, I would have never known. I just was completely oblivious to that. I thought, oh, a little pack of Skittles isn't bad. I'm working out. I'm working out a lot. But it is those things. So those little things matter. And then I saw them begin to matter. I dropped 20 pounds. The performances got better. I felt better. And now I went in, anytime I eat like I used to, it doesn't compare. It just isn't the same. So
How many muscle ups are you stringing together?
well, I went from being able to do like one to, I strung together 7 bar muscle ups the other day. And
How many times did you string together 7?
how many times? 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. The gymnastic stuff got super easy.
Much more consistent, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And running?
Entirely different. Yeah. Like night and day. I mean, I couldn't do a ring muscle up either. And I shed that weight, and now I'm doing ring muscle ups. So it did make, here's another one. Anybody that knows me long enough, I sweat a lot. A lot. I would be currently here drenched, my previous self, before January, and that went away. So that was really cool, unexpected, completely like, you want to talk about actual change in your life that doesn't just affect like my fitness. That was a huge thing for me, like insecurity and just like, who wants to be sweaty all the time? And so that has been worth it. And that for me is a big like drive to keep eating well.
Better regulation of thermogenesis in your body.
For sure.
That's dope. What else? Commitment. We've talked about nutrition, tracks, talked about process. What other commitments can we have to the gym? Or in the gym?
Or in the gym?
Guess I just gave one away. You could commit to the gym.
Yeah, you could commit. Yeah, and we have a lot of people that are committed to the gym.
Super.
The community.
That's you bring up community real quick before we get too far into it. I had a note here. The community sometimes starts to transform, and you start to see different culture within community. So each community every once in a while will have, a multitude of subcultures or sub-communities within them, and that's what we're trying to kind of provide for people, is an opportunity for each one of those cultures to grow, whether that's powerlifting or weightlifting or fitness or competing or just the general strength, and the community as a whole, to show that there is place for all of those. So you can commit to whichever one you like, or whichever two make the most sense to you. But at the same point, there's space for all of them under, the one roof, or I guess 2 roofs. So,
Yeah, 2 now.
2.5. So.
Yeah, the community has been fun to watch. I think that's like you talked about, commitment to the community itself too, right? I have a good friend of mine who's a member who I met through the gym here, that gave me a book that I've been reading about interdependence. And I know you've read Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and how he talks about that that change, right? Of we have a society with a lot of very much individualistic principles, and it's amazing to watch people, be celebrated for who they are as individuals. At another stage, that next one is that interdependence, and that's a cool thing I see with a lot of our community, where we can really rely. There's a lot of people in here I rely on for a multitude of different things outside of just, maybe it is just showing up and calling me out to show up. Maybe it's me calling me out to be a better person when I'm here, checking my attitude when I'm here, and I do this. I like to think I do the same for other people. So that's a cool thing that I think we can all be a part of, and you can commit to in here, is how do I make that person's experience better? How do I make that person's experience in the gym, not just the fitness aspect, but their life, a little bit better and adding value? I have a lot of cool classes, and they're all very unique. My 9 a.m. class, I've watched them. They have a cool dynamic. just like that they're there a lot. They're very committed to being that same group. If somebody's not there, I have more people in that class that will text me when they're not there. I don't need to know. I'm not your teacher, but they care that much about it, and they care about each other enough, and I see a really cool camaraderie there. And it's not to say that that doesn't happen in a lot of the other classes or communities, but that's just one that stands out to me that I love it when I get a text from them. It makes me laugh. Like, I don't need to know that you're not going to be there, but it's so cool that they care enough about each other and themselves and the community to look at it outside of themselves. And it's not just about what I'm doing and whether I'm there, but, me not being there may not help, may not push my friend that's also there. Like, me putting forth my effort is actually helping somebody else get better too. And they see that, and I think it's a cool thing to see build. I mean, you've seen that, right, in some of your classes you've coached, or what do you think about that interdependence and how people make each other better?
Interdependence. I have enjoyed people walking into a room as strangers and leaving as friends. I have enjoyed watching people slowly start to grow and other people getting to witness people growing, them moving from that level up position that you were talking about, the low level to the high level, and then having their new friends be able to witness it and bear testament to what's happening. It's one of my favorite things to see them push past mental and physical barriers and to have people applauding you through failure. And that's where I feel like that interdependence is, it's important for those people to have those trials and tribulations side by side each other, and it strengthens the bond that they have at those points.
For sure.
So I very much enjoy those types of moments where people are able to really, really kind of connect off of some of that stuff. So for sure. The commitment to community, commitment to tracks, and maybe class times we kind of covered a little bit, and to ourselves, to nutrition, and to the process. Mm-hmm. Is there any other pieces of commitment that you want to talk about?
There's one that just popped up. This may sound weird, but communication. Commitment to communication. The reason we have these tracks is because we had people that communicated it to us, right?
That's 100% correct.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have known. We found these little pockets of communities that have, because they're wanting to see ways to make the place better, they're communicating it to us, what we can do better, how we can be better coaches, how we can improve the facility. And I think that's a huge commitment. I know I have to make sure I do that as well with the committing to communicating well on what our intentions are, why we do the things that we do. Every one of us coaches aren't just there doing random stuff. The specific, everywhere from the specific stretches that we do are for them, right? And I think that's something that is easy. I didn't always understand when I was on that side, and then when I got over from being an athlete to a coach of, oh, you actually are putting a lot into this. And so if there's something that I'm missing, if my back's hurt, if I'm not feeling great here or there, if I have an ailment, by communicating it or the commitment, we have an opportunity to make this place better for everybody. Like we've seen with the glute thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are going to get sick of me talking about like their glutes, but we've been hitting it hard because we saw that was an area of weakness, and we're trying to improve their lives. And if they've been doing an awesome job at telling us that, hey, this hurts, that hurts, and
I'm sore.
We're seeing that. Yeah. What do you think with communication? And
no, I think that's great. It's extremely important for communication to. I've been in places before where I felt like I could communicate all I wanted, but it was into a wall, and then it would just kind of bounce around. I don't really want to create that here. I prefer to create opportunities for people to communicate things that they want, and then for us to try to understand and try to provide that. And you're 100% right. That's where a lot of these tracks came from.
Yeah.
You know, people were interested in specific disciplines. People were interested in learning more about them, and we wanted to provide them with the opportunity to do it. So, yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Communication is going to be key, extremely important.
Do you have anything else on commitment that you can think of that we haven't listed off? I mean, I'm sure there's something, but is hitting the major ones.
Yeah, I think primarily it's the major ones. I would say, yeah, I think we've hit it. I mean, we could probably say something about, you know, if a coach goes and gives you exercises to do to help fix a problem, if you really want to fix the problem, commit to the process of doing the exercises that they tell you to do, especially if they say, hey, do this twice a week for the next 2 weeks, or if you go and see Doc and Doc tells you to do something like that, like, it would be an opportunity for you to do that. Commit to that process as well, because we really only want the best for you. We just want to be a part of your process and healing and becoming better and becoming stronger. So that would probably be the only other thing, is secondary stuff. Yeah, I think that's it. What about you? Anything else to add on commitment?
I don't think so. I think that hit the highlights.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you have any other big topics you wanted to talk about?
Nothing that comes to mind at the moment.
Okay. I will, at this time, reveal a little personal that's been going on. Some people already know about it. I think a lot of people in the community know about it. In the last 2 months, I've had 4 seizures. As we record this, I am 2 days, no seizures. It has been extremely frustrating. I've seen a bunch of different professionals to look at brain and heart and all sorts of things. If you have anybody or know anybody that has dealt with epilepsy, seizures, whatever the situation is, I am super interested to talk to them. So I'm going to use this as a little bit of a platform out to you people. If you guys have anybody that you know that would be interested in talking to me, because I'm at a stepping off point that is a little frustrating. So I haven't got good information from any doctor yet. So be super interested to talk to somebody who has experience. So yeah. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
You got any jokes?
Any good jokes? None that I need to share. I get enough of my crappy dad jokes in classes.
We were talking about how we kind of look like, Family Feud?
Yeah.
Family
I think you
Feud
have to do the
down here.
carry the thing.
Right. No, okay. Well, I think that's all we got for today. I'm Aaron, and this is
Corey.
And we have been your hosts on Herd Mentality. Thanks for tuning in.